Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Walt here from Down the Block Sports, and today I want to talk about the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox just promoted their number 3 and number 6 prospect within the organization, according to MLB.com. What I'm going to talk about today is who those two prospects are, how they'll fit into the team for the rest of the season, and how they could affect how the team handles the trade deadline in just a few weeks. Again, I'm Alec Walt. This is Down the Block Sports. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. Again, I just mentioned the Red Sox promoted the number 3 and number 6 prospects. Number 3 prospects, center fielder Jarren Duran. Their 6 prospects, starting pitcher Tanner Houck. They're on their way to Boston, will be activated for the weekend series against the New York Yankees, which starts tonight. Let's start with Jarren Duran. He is the center field prospect who Red Sox fans have heard about for years, and he's finally making his way to the show. I mean, this dude has killed it at every single level he's played at within the Boston Red Sox organization. Specifically this year, the left-handed hitter hit .270 with a .926 OPS, 15 home runs, 32 RBIs, and 15 stolen bases in 189 bats this year at Triple A. He was their leadoff hitter, so that's extremely productive. You look at the Boston Red Sox, yes, their outfield's been nice, but for a while, it looked like they were looking for someone to play center field, the leadoff spot. Now, yes, that's Kike Hernandez. He's been awesome in center field. He's been awesome lately in the leadoff spot. And I don't expect Duran to come in and play leadoff right away, but it looked like the way they were developing Duran was to play in the role Hernandez is currently playing right now. Now, Hernandez does have some infield versatility. We'll get to Hernandez in just a second, but Duran is your typical solid defensive outfielder, has really done a great job developing his bat, and for the Boston Red Sox, he provides an element of base running that I don't know if this team exactly has. I mean, 15 stolen bases. He had 70 stolen bases. 70 in his first 2 seasons of pro ball. I mean, this guy is going to be one of, if not the best base runners on the team the second he arrives in Boston. Now, I mentioned Kike Hernandez. The reason I mentioned him before is because the reason Duran's on the team right now is because they had to put Marwin Gonzalez on the IL. Gonzalez's bat hasn't been that great, but his main values come when he's played first, second, both corner outfield spots. He's extremely versatile. With him out of the lineup, it leaves a pretty nice hole at second base. When you look at the way the Red Sox are constructed right now, their second baseman that can play today are Chavis, who's having a brutal offensive season, Arroyo, who is really, really good against lefties, but his statistics drop off significantly when he plays against right-handed pitching. And then you have Kike, who can pretty much play where Alex Cora tells him he can play on a daily basis. And he's proven over the last couple weeks that he should play every day, which really he had proven before that. And he should be solidified in that leadoff spot, which he's been one of the better really lately. I mean, I was just recently at the game against the Phillies where he led off the game with a bomb. He's fortunately been able to do that multiple times this year for the Boston Red Sox. So how will Houck be used, or how will Duran be used? In Triple A this year, he was significantly better against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. Obviously, I mentioned Arroyo being very solid against left-handed pitching as well, which is where if you were to put him in the outfield, you move Kike into the infield, there's certain things you can do with him. I think if Duran's going to play in Boston, he's going to play more likely than not in center field, because they developed him as a center fielder. They developed him as a leadoff hitter. Even though he's a leadoff hitter, I think he's going to play as the 9 to where if he gets on base, it brings the order back to the top. You go Kike, Verdugo, JD, Bogaerts, Devers. You get him on base, go back to the top of the order. You got a chance to have someone who can provide some serious damage there on the base pass. Now, when you look at the rest of this Red Sox roster, Verdugo hasn't been amazing against lefties, even though I obviously think he's an everyday player. Duran just provides the ability to give your outfield some rest if you need to. Move Hernandez into the infield, of course, if you need to. You have the ability to bring in a guy like Arroyo if someone else needs a break. The Red Sox have a lot of options because they have a team that has some versatility. Now, of course, one of their most versatile players, Marwin, he's on the IL. You look at Danny Santana, another versatile player who has even played some games in center field. He's on the IL. The Red Sox do have to make some moves, get a little bit creative with their lineup, but Duran was a guy they had training for a while to be that center field leadoff hitter. And even though I don't think he'll lead off in Boston, he has the chance to make a real impact there in center field, move Kike around, keep him as an everyday hitter, and still have one of the most productive offenses in the league. And another thing about Duran is if he doesn't make a start, I don't know a better pinch runner than him on the team. Can provide that ability to steal bases, put relief pitchers on edge, go first to third on a hit and run, really provide that aggressive base running. I think that's a huge reason for this team because he can also come in and not be a liability defensively. And, Alex Cora is in a really good spot right now with Duran because he can put him in center field, he can put him in corner spots, he can give outfielders a rest, he can move Kike into the infield if he needs to. He has a situational pinch runner and a guy who's proven he can hit at every single level. So obviously Major League Baseball is much different than any other level he's played at, but he's on a good team in a good situation with a good manager on a team that's ready to win. We'll see how he does in his first stint in the major leagues. Another call-up for the Red Sox is Tanner Houck, who is a familiar name with Red Sox fans because this isn't the first time he's gotten called up to the major leagues. Last year, he was elite for the Red Sox when they had him starting in the rotation, going 3-0 with a 0.53 ERA. Of course, he got called up again, or he was on the team to start this season. Not as great in 0-2 with a 4.35 ERA. He did deal with some injuries in his return to Triple A Worcester in 5 starts. He pitched 4 innings or less, so I am very excited I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit when it comes to Houck and his expectations for early on in the Red Sox. Cora has expressed interest in a 6-man rotation with 18 consecutive games coming, 8 of which are against the New York Yankees. Again, he's not even penciled in to start against the Yankees as they're going with 4 of their top starters here in this series to begin with. Cora likes to aim for that 5-6 inning mark. If he's not hitting 4 innings or so in AAA, yes, I understand he's developing his arm to get ready. I'm not fully sold on if he'll start right away. It should be interesting to see how they use him. But again, like I mentioned before in a video in the past, what should the Red Sox do at the deadline? Adding extra arms never hurts. Because obviously Chris Sale is returning. Tanner Houck's getting the call-up. They now have way more starters in their rotation than they expected, in a rotation that's been better than everyone around Major League Baseball expected them to be. So, Chris Sale's coming back. We'll see how he pitches. Again, he hasn't pitched in nearly a year and a half. I think he has the mindset to strike out every single player on the opposing team, but we have to be realistic with our expectations with Chris Sale. Erod has been hit or miss, and you want to make sure he's not missing when it comes to the playoffs, but the other 4 starters have been very serviceable. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Cora manages this rotation, but he's still building up his arm as he gets ready for a starter. But Houck has proven in the past that when he pitches for the Red Sox, when he's healthy, he can be an extremely solid starting pitcher. So again, the Red Sox have even more depth in their rotation. I still think they should go after some relief pitching here. We'll see if one of their starters moves into the bullpen as they figure out what they're going to do in the playoffs. But the Red Sox today are a much better team. They added 2 of their top prospects in the organization with Jarren Duran and Tanner Houck. Duran's going to provide some depth in the outfield. Houck's going to provide some depth within the starting rotation. And the timing for this is absolutely perfect because the Sox are only a couple weeks away from the trade deadline. They need to know who's on the roster right now. If they need to know within their organization who can provide some impact early on. Do they have the right depth pieces now that Duran's in center field? With some other players, of course, coming back from injury. Do they have enough pitchers within the organization with Houck now taking a step forward and continuing to evaluate the progress of Chris Sale? Over the next couple weeks, could be telling a lot because if the Red Sox continue their trend against the Yankees, they're going to have a massive lead in this division. But it's Major League Baseball. The Red Sox lost 4 or 5 going into the break. The Yankees looked like they got some of their swagger back against the Houston Astros. So you never know what's going to happen, but the Red Sox do have a great history against the Yankees. I have some solid expectations for this series, but it's 8 games, 4-game series back-to-back. You got to make sure you're playing some better baseball than you did to end the break. So again, the Red Sox are better today. They should have a great evaluation window to see what they have within the organization for Chaim Bloom to hopefully make some pretty decent moves to have the Red Sox make a World Series run here in 2021. That's me, this episode of my reaction to the Red Sox calling up 2 of their top prospects. What do you think of Jarren Duran and Tanner Houck? Your expectations for them this season? Feel free to comment that below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Down the Block Sports for more of my exclusive content. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.